This segment of the Alice Stewart Show is brought to you by Aero Plumbing. For all your household or business plumbing needs, call Aero Plumbing at 1-866-PLUMBER or schedule an appointment online at aeroplumbing.net.
Welcome back to the Alice Stewart Show, 7:35 on a beautiful Monday morning, and we are broadcasting live from Washington, D.C. at the Family Research Council studios, and thank you to Tony Perkins and his great team here for allowing us to do so, and joined in studio with someone many are familiar with there in Arkansas native, Josh Duggar. Josh, great to have you here.
Well, thanks, Alice. Always a pleasure to be with you.
You've been super busy, and of course your mom and dad, Jim, Bob, and Michelle, have been out and about campaigning for different people. Y'all are one busy political family.
Well, we keep it that way, and I think it runs in the family, so it's always something going on.
Yes, and you're with the Family Research Council. We'll start off with your most recent event, the Values Voter Summit that was held last week in Washington. We were here last week, and it was a great gathering of conservatives and candidates. That the focus was on getting candidates or people to support and rally behind people that have values, conservative values, faith and family and liberties. So what was the main takeaway out of that summit?
Well, that's right, Alice. Well, this is actually our 9th annual Values Voter Summit here in Washington, D.C. And what it is really a gathering of people coming together to, echo the fact that faith, family, and freedom are important values. And when you look at, American history, it's something that's been, I think it's intertwined as anything else into our culture. But now we're in a place where we have not only an administration, but those who are in political power who don't understand that and who are not reflecting those things. And what we hear from people around this country is that these are still things that must be central. And so, we have people like Ted Cruz or Governor Mike Huckabee, Rick Santorum. You had Sarah Palin this year. We had Glenn Beck. We had a number of people, Mark Levin, others who are standing up and making their voice heard, and often presenting something that's a little bit countercultural in the process. And so the summit gives people an opportunity to share those ideals. Now, there's a lot of differing opinions. I mean, we had everyone from Rand Paul to Ted Cruz as far as on the Senate side, but all on the spectrum of saying, hey, we're going to do something that's different than what this administration is putting out, and we understand what the average person is looking for. It's something different than government is God.
And I think that was key. And we heard from candidates, we heard authors, Glenn Beck, whose show is on right after this program, but stressing the importance of making sure that our government and our elected officials don't leave God in the rearview mirror when they move forward in politics.
Well, and often that's what happens. I mean, not only is it even that bad, Alice, but I think, often they're actually thinking they are God. And the fact that, we know government is something created by God. And just like the church and the family, those are things that should be as much of a respect there for that system. But often what happens is government creeps into that place. And often it's because of the fact that we're not willing to speak out as Christians and as people of faith to be involved in this process. And so the summit was an awesome opportunity for people to speak out. And again, we're going to have another one next year. It'll be our 10th annual. We're looking forward to it. This year we had over 90 speakers. There was a lot of organization in a 2-day summit, and our team did a great job, and I think people were encouraged.
I think next year, as it's a little bit closer to 2016, I think there'll be a lot more. You always get a lot of attention and focus and media attention, but when it's closer to a presidential year, it tends to be a little higher up.
Certainly.
And you mentioned government and faith and religion, and oftentimes when those on the right make that argument, those on the left will say, what about the separation of church and state? They're supposed to be separate. When in actuality, it is we're supposed to be protected from the government encroaching on our faith.
No, and that's true. And I think that, the separation of church and state is an argument that people often want to make, but it's not one that stands up. Because when you look at our founders and what they intended for America to be, it was a country that was not dictated by certain mandates saying, okay, you have to be Catholic or you have to be Baptist or whatever that may be. It was saying, no, you can choose whatever religion you want to choose. But they did not at the same time leave out God in that process. And so it was something where they understood that we were endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. And then among these, and they went on to list those. And I don't think it's a coincidence that they mentioned life as their very first one of those principles, because now, as people of faith, we understand the value of life. And I think in government, we have to realize that every life is valuable, whether it's, from conception to natural death, and we have to make certain that we protect that.
And that's so important, and it's key, as was stressed quite often at Values Voters, is to elect people who stand for life. Arkansas has done tremendous with regard to protecting life and pro-life legislation. It's critical to keep those people in office. And midterm elections, we have a lot of folks where that's one of many important issues. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about that in terms of what FRC is doing, what the different parties are doing, who's coming in town. We know former President Bill Clinton will be in Arkansas today to campaign for folks, but the importance of standing behind and getting out to vote for candidates that represent conservative views and values is so critical. So we're going to take a break. Josh Duggar will join us on the other side of the break, and we'll have more here on the Alice Stewart Show. This segment of the program is brought to you by Arrow Plumbing. For all of your household or business plumbing needs, give them a call, 1-866-PLUMBER, or you can schedule an appointment online at arrowplumbing.net.